that one within a reasonable time, especially before the rain starts. If you leave it, it becomes a major problem. So what we'll be doing is to take a holistic review of the road network and see what we can do to make quick interventions to those sections that are the worst and gradually bring it up to meet those that are in the better condition.
Thank you very much. Any follow-up?
Chairman, I wish the nominee all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chief Whip.
Honorable, my good friend, Chief Whip, on the toll, I'm happy how informed you are. And I can testify a number of discussions I've had with you personally and your professional advice you've professed. But I'm not a prophet of doom, though. I anticipate you are going to have difficulty because you have stood on political platform to say, oh, Ghanaians are suffering, cost of living is high and all, blah, 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 blah. How are you going to justify the introduction of some levy or tax against all the things you've told Ghanaians? Don't be careful you don't attract the anger of the Mr. President, because Mr. President has said that the price of Kenkey is going to reduce. The price of export price of petrol is going to go down. So my real concern for you, my good friend.
Honorable Chief Whip, what has the price of Kenkey got to do with the issue?
In context of cost
and
of
the reference.
It's important.
Go ahead.
Speaker, be liberal. So I have a lot of sympathies. The young, handsome Adakulu, Member of Parliament, arguably very successful Chief Whip. How are you going to balance the scale? You are introducing a levy, a tax, and yet your party, who has won to become constitutional government, has said that cost of living is going to go down. Would your levy reduce cost of living or to rather increase it? And how are you going to have the confidence to introduce it?
Thank you very much, Chairman. The good thing is that the reintroduction of road toll was part of what we put before the people of this country, which led to this emphatic victory. They are actually expecting us to reintroduce road toll and make sure the accruals go to improve the conditions on our road. I have never met any driver who says, I don't want to pay road toll. What I hear them say all the time is, we are paying the road toll. How come our roads are still like this? So as long as we can prove to them we are using this money to improve the conditions on our road, I am sure they will be able to accommodate. However, you are also aware that when my boss, the majority leader, took the chair here, he suggested some of the draconian taxes that are going to be removed in his first budget. Those savings would make more meaning to the ordinary Ghanaian. E-levy is going, and it's a promise the president has made, and it is going. And I'm sure your constituents are going to be happy to see e-levy go. Betting tax is going, and I'm sure the young people in your constituency are going to be happy to see betting tax go. So I know you mean well, apply to things that matter to the people of this country. Thank you.
Honourable members, it's now the turn of Honourable Kennedy Osei-Nyarko, Subject Matter Committee member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Honourable nominee, congratulations. You and I have come a long way. He happens to be my ranking, and today nominated to go and hold a ministry that He, at the time, as a ranking, was vociferous and wanted to see things done right. I only wish you well, and I hope you're going to do exactly. Just a quick one. I want to understand what is the difference between commitment of the ministry and the indebtedness. I want you to explain that one for me.
Okay, it is basically all the road projects that are active, not completed. So we put a figure, the easiest way is to put the contract sum together. That is the commitment. So if you are budgeting, you need to put money aside, knowing very well this year, 20% of road number 1, Eban Road. That means that you should be writing a check to the contractors or transferring money to them. So that is the difference. One is work on site or yet to be done or certified. The other one is certified work. That is the difference between commitment and debt.
You say that the...
Is it a supplementary or a substantive? Supplementary. Very well.
Did I hear you say that the arrears, the current certificate unpaid is 15 billion? Did you say that?
Not 15 billion. GOG, based on documents provided to the transition team, GOG is in excess of 20 billion. And then, as you and I know, there are two main sources of payment to contractors in this country, road fund and GOG. And most contractors these days, in the past it used to be people wishing their projects are under road fund because accruals are known. But since the days of the capping of the road fund, and if I tell you the road fund story here, it's a very sorry story. Most contractors wish their projects are funded by GOG because then the finance minister is the one who pays. So GOG is currently about 20 billion, and interest plus capital for road fund is what is 15 billion.
Okay.
Any further question?
Yes. Honorable nominee, have you cited the presidential transition report on roads, and are you familiar with the figures in terms of certificate that is pending for the ministry to pay in terms of arrears? Have you cited it?
The interesting thing about certificates is that even if you were to go to the ministry today and they give you a sum of money as money they owe, in the morning, in the afternoon, you could find a different figure because contractors are working 24/7 and are raising certificates on daily basis. So they always say this is as of the time they give us. So that is why I'm saying to you, from the document we cited from the transition team, which is a ministry document, the figures are what I've put out. It could end up being more than this, or unless maybe they paid some huge amount of money before producing this document, then it could be slightly less.
Okay.
Any further question?
Yes.
I think no. This is, please, the rule is that you ask one substantive question and you ask a follow-up. So this, so if you have done two, yes, no, you have a substantive question and a follow-up. Please, your last substantive question.
Okay, thank you. So, Honorable Nominee, you and I know that the biggest challenge for the road ministry is in terms of funding gap. That is why each and every year they present their budget of about 16 or even sometime beyond billion, but they ended up having only 4 billion. You are knowledgeable in that area. You have in-depth knowledge of the issues. What do you plan practically to do to address this funding gap issue that has bedeviled this ministry and making the work at the ministry a very difficult one? What do you plan to do?
Yes, Chairman, my respected ranking and a good friend is right. From the matrix we have seen over the years, we have always argued that for us to be able to make a good impact on the road interventions, the country must be generating and setting aside between 6 to 10 billion cedis of our own money, not borrowed money. How do we fund this? If you speak to the former Minister of Roads and Highways, Honorable Makwata, you are aware we were close to having a national dialogue on how to fund roads and make it open to Ghanaians. How much can we pay to be able to get the quality of roads we need? Unfortunately, that engagement never took place before he left. And the new minister, our colleague in Parliament, Honorable Asenso, was also in the process. So there's a cohort of people who believe that we should engage Ghanaians on how we fund roads. Together with the committee and the Ministry of Finance, I think we should be plain to Ghanaians. We need to open up the discussion about how we fund roads in our country and make sure whatever agreement we have, the monies are applied. I have argued, and you know about it, when we tell people pay road tolls, and the people pay road tolls, and you take more than half of that money to do free SHS. If you want money for free SHS, ask for money for free SHS. I'm not saying free SHS is not necessary, but when you take money for road, apply that money for road interventions. So as long as we can do this and be open and honest to Ghanaians, whatever they agree, we apply to the roads, and then we can get some improvement. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Yes, your last supplementary question.
Yes. Honorable nominee, will you consider adopting a negligence liability period in our road contract to ensure that contractors who does shoddy jobs are taken on and ensure that they do the right thing? Will you consider that?
Chairman, there are various reasons why we see what we call shoddy works on our roads. Many things account for that. Sometimes it's not even the knowledge of the contractor. Indeed, there is always that 12-month defect liability period on construction projects. But sometimes, especially if you watch asphaltic overlay, it embellishes the problem so neatly for few months that you may never know what is beneath. But after a few months, you realize that it has failed completely. Not only the contractors. I'm an architect by profession. If I practice elsewhere outside this country, the employer insists I take professional indemnity insurance before I touch his or her work. I.e., so if the work fails, he can draw on the professional indemnity to get some compensation. Is it time for consultants taking on huge government contracts to take the appropriate indemnity to cover the services they are providing? Because the Ghanaian doesn't understand why you would do a project in his backyard, a road to say, and 6 months, the rain washes the whole thing away, and then we are looking for another money to come and start. So it will be a combination of these things. I've heard people talk about increase the defect liability period to 24 months. That will not necessarily solve the problem. The problem is that we need to build the capacity and put some of the risk on the back of the consultants and others, but also to encourage government to pay contractors and consultants on time to be able to execute the works within schedule.
Honorable nominee, I wish you well.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Omar.
Thank you, Chairman. My good friend, Kwame, Honorable Kwame Agbaja, congratulations. I I have a question on funding, especially having listened to you about the huge. Thank you for correcting. Haven't listened to you about the huge indebtedness in the road sector. How do you intend to meet the expectations of Ghanaians, especially the new roads that we expect you to construct, particularly the Eastern Corridor, beginning from the Temamoto all the way to Yendi? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I acknowledge that I come into this role with huge expectation, starting from colleagues. On record, the road minister answers the largest number of questions in Parliament, more than any minister. And I must commend Honorable Makwata for that diligence. As long as he's available on Fridays, he'll come and answer the questions. And I used to tease him that as for answering the question, he will answer. As of whether he will do the road is another matter, because of the same thing you are talking about. Well, the president who appointed me has made one solemn promise, that is to be candid with the people of our country. So wherever we are doing anything, he will let the people know. Indeed, we are not going to find it easy to satisfy everybody in terms of how quickly the road leading to the places we live are done. But what we are committed to is to make sure that whatever resources we have and apply to the road interventions, we'll make sure everybody understands what is in the kitty and what we can get. When my boss, the majority leader, sat in this chair, he painted another figure, which is something we should all be thinking about. As you know, as part of the debt restructuring, government postponed a chunk of our repayment or interest until this year. One bullet payment was just done a few weeks ago when the former finance minister told us. But there are bigger ones ahead of us that we must clear. So we would spend whatever is available to be spent on the road. But as of where we find the money, that is the responsibility of the finance minister to carry. My job is to package projects, make sure they meet value for money, and his job is to fund it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any more questions? Yes. If a follow-up, you are entitled to.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nomni, will you consider new funding methods, at least for us to have either a BOT or PPP routes from Accra to Kumasi, where individuals or road users will be paying using per usage, something like the one we have in the developed country, 10 pikes, so that it can help us speed up transportation network in Ghana.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I gave an indication regarding that when I spoke about the reintroduction of road toll. But I know funding would go beyond just road tolls. And so we are going to consider all those things, including other sources. But like I said, it is not for me to state all the sources that would accrue to road funding. That is the job of the finance minister. I was happy you mentioned Eastern Corridor as one of the things the president actually committed to. It's a project in 6 lots. I think half or so has been done. But from the motorway, actually, okay, you were not there. My colleagues, we approved a loan to a company called INZAG. I'm sure they all got caught up in the debt restructuring. So if you go there, the contractors appear to be working, but the rate at which they are working isn't encouraging. So we have our work cut out to make sure we turn things around. And we are committed to doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. You are done. Thank you. You want one more, then your last question.
Thank you. Mr. Nomni, the President Akufo-Addo disclosed in his 2023 State of the Nation address that his government has constructed 11,974 kilometers of new road. I come from a rural constituency, Zabzugu. We have a lot of rural challenges. I don't see it. And I want to find out from you, is this true?
Mr. Chairman, yes, I remember the President appearing in the House as part of his constitutional mandate to update the House on what is happening in the country. And he made us aware of a certain figure of, at that time, new roads. It wasn't pleasant to try to contradict the President because his source of information are better than mine. But the figure 11,000 just jumped out as new roads. And my side said that was a bit less than the truth. Since then, the agencies under the road ministry attempted to adjust the figure as part of the transition. And you remember our view was that only 617 kilometers of roads were new roads, so to stay, at the time. At the transition, they provided details. At the time of the transition, the new roads constructed is 673, which is not far from the 617 we talked about at that time, because it means that few more roads have been completed. So that issue is in a record of the of Parliament that indeed Ghana did not construct 11,000 kilometers of new roads since 2017. Rather, 673 kilometers have been constructed as new roads. The bulk of the work in the 13,624.25 kilometers is regraveling and graveling. That is 6,185.90 kilometers. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. It is now the turn of Muntala Mohammed, a subject matter committee. Honorable members, I am dealing with 9 on my right and 6 on my left. I am mindful of the standing order in 2177 to admit the leadership, but that one will not also make it 1-1. So allow me to chair and balance.
Speaker, we will allow you. In fact, we will not just allow you. We will help you to lead and chair. But Speaker, I had already prompted you that, and in this house, you go to your left and then you come to your right, even though we are not seated as we often sit in the chamber. I had prompted you of an expression made by the Deputy Whip. So, Speaker, if you may indulge me, you have gone there. If you may allow the Deputy Whip to have a bite, and then you are not the chairman. Are you the chairman? Muntala, are you the chairman? You are not even a member of the committee.
Honorable Chief Whip, I have numbers before me,
yes,
which I will have to balance. So I'm saying that on this occasion, I'm taking 2 and then coming back to. I will balance the number. Whoever should speak.
Are you going by any ratio?
Able to speak. Yes, yes, certainly. Certainly.
It will not last. It will not last.
Honorable Muntala, you have the floor. Order.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable nominee, congratulations. My question is simple. In your first year, will you concentrate on completing the abandoned routes or incomplete routes, or you do it alongside with awarding new contracts? And I ask this question because there are several routes that have been working on for several. The Eastern Corridor one, for example. I have an interest because if the road is completed, it takes me lesser time to travel from Accra to my constituency in Tamale, and it opens up the place. And also there are some roads in Tamale Township that are not, completed. So I want to know whether you will concentrate in completing those incomplete roads, or some of them abandoned, or you would do that alongside with new roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. The President has already given an indication that he will complete ongoing projects. So we have made that commitment and we intend to follow that. But I can foresee a situation where out of need, we may have to start some new projects to address urgent issues. But the first year, our commitment will be to focus on critical road projects which have been abandoned, to make them motorable for the use to which it was originally intended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, okay, let's follow up. Well, I should finish before he comes.
Please continue.
Okay. My second question: how do you intend to fund the 10 billion big push that President Mahama and the NDC intends to do? Because that is going to have a huge, the cost is huge. How do you intend to fund it?
Chairman, the big push is President Mahama's big intervention on infrastructure. As a sector minister for roads and highways, it is my responsibility, as I said, to identify critical road projects, package them, after design and everything, make sure it meets the required value for money features, and present them to the Minister of Finance for financing. As we are all aware, the big push is a 4-year, $10 billion proposal. The projects that will go into this basket of projects ought to be cutting edge and the ones that make significant intervention in whichever sector. So they are not necessarily road projects worth 10 billion. They are just big, significant infrastructure projects worth 10 billion. So equates to about 2.5 billion annually for the 4 years.
Mr. Chairman,
do you have a follow-up?
Yes, a follow-up on that.
There's a follow-up on that. Then you can ask your follow-up question. Okay. Then I will recognize the chief.
Okay, Mr. Chairman,
on the follow-up.
I think the challenge that confronts us in this country on the matter of spending such huge sums of money in road construction is the durability, or how long those roads last. We have had complaints where contractors finish with the road is commissioned, and by 1 year, you find potholes on the roads. As a minister, taking into consideration the amount of money that government intend to spend on that, what measures are you putting in place to ensure that the quality of the roads that are to be constructed using these monies is something that is of tremendous interest to you and concern? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Industry players would put few factors as the reason the roads fail. 2 days ago, I was getting a briefing to the effect that even the materials we use. In some countries, the bitumen that is used on their road are produced by themselves. So the engineers determine the composition. If you watch in our country, even some contractors buy bitumen in drums, imported from somewhere. Nobody is able to determine whether this bitumen is good for our climate. So the materials we use, the design of the road, the supervision. One issue facing the road agencies. Some agencies have, which are supposed to be an engineering outfit, which requires civil engineers, mechanical engineers, quantity surveyors, have more administrative staff than engineers. So you could see an engineer supervising a project, and the capacity is not even there for him or her to be able to do this in reasonable time. So we ought to work on the staffing of the road agencies to have the qualified staff. I've also seen documents that suggest that some of the agencies, the level of the new engineers, the current engineers, compared to when they will retire, there's going to be a gap because we are not recruiting new engineers to be trained enough before they exit. So it will be a combination of how we select materials, the design, the capacity of the contractors, and also government ability to pay contractors expeditiously when works are done. When contractors work, they are not paid. They vacate the site, and you pay them some time. What happens is that once the money is not theirs, the bank takes the money. You can't actually know whether they've gone to the site to do anything. So to be able to deal with this matter, we should address it on all fours. Otherwise, we will see what we are seeing, where you spend 4 billion on a project and then 10 billion as interest on that 4 billion. It's unacceptable and not sustainable.
Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
I
recognize.
I want clarity on the point he made, and I think it's important.
Please, Honorable Muntala, go ahead and I'll come to you.
Honorable Minister nominee, the issue of the quality of manpower that you use, because you gave an example that sometimes people are recruited to work in areas where they don't have the expertise, particularly the engineers. Are you going to engage more engineers or more technical people for specific portfolios, or you want to build the capacity of the existing ones? Because I do know that there are some who may not necessarily be engineers. An example is planning. You and I, we all went to the same department. You go to the assemblies, you have people who are not planners, but who have been trained to do works that are supposed to be done by planners. Equally, in the road sector, is it an issue that you build the capacity of those who have been engaged?
Thank you very much.
You want to recruit?
Honorable nominee, your response.
Yes, I think a combination of both. And fortunately, Ghana has one of the best training institutes at Koforidua, where they train in-house training. Even members of parliament, we do get some capacity building sometimes within our committees to be able to be effective. So indeed, those in the service already need, to update their knowledge. But critically, we need to recruit new engineers and give them that capacity so that we can have a good number of people deployed on the almost 4,000 different road projects going on at the same time across the country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing me. Honorable Whip, asking this question not to question your competence at all. Far from that. I know you very well. I know you can do the job. However, I hear, and often I've heard colleagues on the other side brandishing $10 million push. You're holding us a low, yes, $10 billion. You're holding us a low-lying fruit. Now, my question to you, my good friend, is, you've already shown some regret, the extent of the depth, the situation of the depth, which you have regretted well enough, and we've heard you loud and clear. You've also said that you will sit with the finance minister to be in the context of the situation you have at hand. Now, how will you draw the balance of implementation in terms of the 10 billion, mind you, it's not only for roads, broad spectrum infrastructure. So you have so-called abandoned roads, and then people of Adaklu also come to you after you have been approved. I know you are aware of that. And you'll be coming to the House more often than any minister to answer questions. You are aware of that. How would you draw the balance so-called abandoned roads and new urgent road needs that also need to be attended to. Don't forget, you have already said that there's no money. And then you are also going to work closely with the so-called the finance minister. When the
Honorable members, I drew the attention of the House to the fact that for a stated reason, I asked the Marshal to be here. So if any friend of the committee will not remain in silence, then I will be forced to apply the rules. Please, 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 honorable members. Please, Honorable Yusuf.
You see, I'm just talking about your big push. And you are not tolerant to listen.
Honorable Kennedy Osenyako, let's listen to the questions being asked. Honorable Alasan Soini, please.
Mr. Chair, so my good friend, Honorable Abuja, very passionate about the concerns of roads and the challenges. This big push, which I know you are very excited about, and it finds good expression in your manifesto. Yes. Or you are nodding your head? No, my question is, how would you get the balance? We have roads in your own description and beautifully captured by Honorable Mutala, abandoned roads. And then you also have new roads needs. How are you going to get the balance? Are you going to, already you have said that your first year, you will focus on. My question is, how are you going to get the balance? Then again, I'm not done. Mr. Chairman, I'm not done.
Honorable members, I want us to listen to the question in silence. But Honorable Chief Whip, this Honorable Chief Whip, Honorable Chief Whip, word, how are you going to balance the new rules as against the abandoned rules? So if that is your question, put it to, so that he can proceed to answer the question. I beg you.
Speaker, with respect to you, I'm old enough to speak for myself. I only employ my colleagues to be tolerant. You had the opportunity, Honorable Muntala. I know you want to be seen on the screen, and so that you can get the attention of Mr. P.
Mr. Chairman.
Please, Honorable Muntala, you don't have the floor.
No, but Mr. Chairman,
please, you don't have the floor.
No.
Please.
It's point of order.
Please.
It's point
Honorable
of
Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip.
It's point of order.
Go ahead and ask your question. Please, Honorable Chief Whip, I'm begging you.
It's point of order.
Honorable Whip. So how do you get the balance? Abandoned, so-called abandoned roads, and the new ones which may be of good importance. How are you going to get the balance? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, it's point of order. It's important. It is important you allow me to speak out.
Honorable Muntala, you do not have the floor.
So
I still insist that you don't have the floor.
Say that.
Ask your question.
Yeah, Chairman, my colleague, a very good friend, Minority Whip, is right. And let me state it again. The projects that we are going to prepare for Big Push are not for abandoned projects, small projects. I already said they are the key big intervention projects. For instance, there has been on the drawing board for some time an orbital around Accra, which goes Chopoli all the way to Bujumbura. That project, over 100 kilometers of road, makes a significant intervention in terms of traffic management within the Accra itself. That project ought to be prepared properly, costed, make sure value for money is done, and then presented to the finance minister for funding. At the same time, it is the responsibility of finance ministry to continue funding projects that are on site. So Big Push is not about completing the projects already on site, but the major intervention project that can actually pay for itself, that can actually make huge impact on the country. So that is the difference. So we're not going to stop ongoing projects. The president has already made a commitment to that. However, the big push projects are dedicated and significant projects that are not going to be rushed, but are going to be done effectively so that all Ghanaians will get the impact of those projects. So that is the difference between the big push basket of projects, which are yet to be developed, and ongoing projects.
Thank you very much. Honorable Muntala, do you have any more questions? You are entitled to one last question. It is now the turn of Honorable Kofi Mafo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to congratulate my ranking, who is now the Chief Whip. I want to congratulate him for his nomination. I heard him saying that for him, the 100 billion debt, the 20 billion, and then the 15 billion, and then 665 million interest. For him, he considered that part as waste of funding. I want to ask him, when he said wasted funds, I want to ask him, what does he mean by that?
Thank you, my good friend. I call you Kofi, but today, Honorable Kofi Mafo. The reason I say it's a wasted fund is this. If we want compounding interest on the unpaid certificate, that is what it is. Ghanaians get 113 million worth of road, but they pay extra 665 million extra money for nothing. As interest. There can't be a waste bigger than that. And I'm not saying it's peculiar. It only started today. It is the way road construction contracts are put together in this country. There's something wrong with it. It is not the fault of even the contractors, because I earlier said they borrow money to do this work. If we were to pay them on time, there wouldn't have been the interest compounding. So I don't even blame them, because the 665 doesn't even go to them. Perhaps they borrowed money from the bank, and they have to give them that money back to the bank. So the only winners in this case might be the banks. But it's a road ministry supposed to be a source of good business for a bank this way. Yes, they can be good business, but not in this format. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Your second question, or you have a follow-up?
A follow-up.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Nominee. Yes, I want to ask you, if you become the minister, what are you going to do differently?
Yes, okay.
So that 665 million wasted funds will not be there?
Well, my answer to that I've already provided. That as for payment, it is the Ministry of Finance job to find the money. But what I can do to help, and as I stated earlier, is to bring together the stakeholders, contractors and everybody. I am sure if we were to call contractors and sit down with them and say, look, this debt, frankly speaking, the finance minister, who is the leader of the house, has already stated, if all the taxes we collect is 200 million, a billion, you can't hand over all that to just one ministry. And if you keep that money on the books, it keeps getting worse. So maybe, we need to sit down with all the stakeholders to see where we cut our losses. Do we agree with them? We pay you off a certain amount of money. If you owe a bank, we can draw the bank in. After all, did we not see the whole country try to negotiate debt that is owed even individuals? So I think that the time has come for us to bring together all players in the road sector to see how we can make this sustainable. You see, if government keep owing and we are not paying, we are not even a better customer to the contractor. That is why today you call some contractors want to award them work, they will tell you it's better to sleep than to take the job, because they take the job and he's got debt on his head. So we need to make construction attractive business to recruit and give employment to young people, especially those with the stakeholders, to see maybe the committee can get involved, as we call the...
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Nominee, I want to find out from you. This capping and decapping has become an issue in Parliament, and you have been an advocate against capping. Tell me, how are you going to decap this particular road fund that has been capped?
Yes, you are right. I've been an advocate of decapping statutory funds, especially road fund. I worked out something. When you see the amount of money collected into the road fund and the amount of money released to them and the one that government pays at GOG, it turns out that basically the finance ministry just take part of the road fund and keep it and give it back to them as GOG funds. So in other words, they don't actually put in much money of themselves. I would still continue to advocate for the road fund to be decapped, because it is better for them to have that money and pay off contractors that they owe to stop the compounding interest than to keep on capping, taking away more than 50% of their money, and then the problem stays with all of us. So I'll continue to advocate for decapping of road fund.
Thank you very much. Next question. Probably your last question.
Yes, my last question. Mr. Nominee, you were on record as saying that $240 million was used, $240 million was used for E-Gate. Immigration Service came out to debunk it, stating that they spent $1.7 million. I want to find out, do you still hold on to the 240 million claim, or you agree with Immigration Service?
Thank you very much, my good friend. Actually, I spoke in context. And the rebuttal by Immigration Service, I didn't see how that is a rebuttal. I see it as even a confirmation of what I said. Because, in effect, what they have said is that they were talking about the total cost, the life cycle cost of the project, which is what? 297 million instead of the 240 million. So I was wondering what kind of rebuttal is that, that I allege that you were doing something for 240, and you come out to confirm that you were doing it for 297. But the difficulty for Ghana Immigration Service is that they probably don't know what they were doing. Indeed, the few physical immigration, E-gates that were planted could cost 1.7 million Ghana cedi. But if government had listened to what I was saying, it wouldn't have resulted into some of the embarrassment we saw at the airport when the vice president was trying to commission it. The former vice president. If I were to tell you today that there is not even any contract for the E-gate, there is no contract. So what the 1.7 million they were talking about, there's no contract. And they didn't know. I'm a ranking. I have information. This is a letter signed, this is a memo from the Ministry of Finance. When I started talking, do you know what they did? This memo is dated 19th March 2024. And what is the memo saying? Submission of final proposal on the development of a national border management system. Are you aware that this project is already being implemented by Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, and the E-gate was supposed to be done for free? Why are we even supposed to pay $1 for something that we are supposed to get for free? So when you see, when they started backtracking, do you know what they did? They now went and did this memo, and the memo title I've given you. And now they said...
Honorable Kennedy Nyako and Honorable Yusuf, order.
Let me read to you. They said contract value, $147,765,627 million. Then they said contract duration, 10 years. Support and management fee, 10%. Support and maintenance fee, 18%. I repeat, Ghana ought not pay even $1 for the so-called E-Gate project. In fact, whilst we were at the discussion, they were now at Ministry of Finance trying to do VFM for a project that has already been implemented. I am sure when the nominee for transport appears, you can get more details of that. So, Immigration Service, you have basically confirmed my allegation that you have forgotten that the implementation of this rests in the domain of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. You have no business carrying out this. And this is a UN Security Council resolution. It lies with Ghana Airport Company Limited. So I have not said anything that I need to depart from, but to repeat that what they were doing was not right, there's no contract, and it's no value for money.
Honorable Member, you have your
Chairman,
last follow-up question.
Chairman,
do you have
Chairman,
any?
Please, Chairman, with all respect to you. Chairman, with due respect, that is why we have subject matter committee leadership. My colleague has indicated that it's a matter he wants to correct. That Honorable Senyako, would you endure him just a minute, please?
Well, I indicated a few minutes ago that when a procedure is set down for a right to be exercised, the procedure must be followed. I intimated to you that when a member has a follow-up question to ask, it is only after asking the follow-up question that another person can be given the opportunity. That is why I'm asking him whether he has a follow-up question or not. So it is after exhausting him that a different person can come. Whip, don't do this to create the impression that I am not being fair.
Speaker, I'm not saying, Speaker, with respect. No, we will never say that you are not being fair. We have a responsibility to help you moderate this vetting. Speaker, exactly that's what we are doing. That is exactly what we are doing. We won't take anything away from you. So Speaker,
at this point,
I will defer to you on some of these
the member who has the floor
so
asking the question. I am asking whether he has the last supplementary question. So if he doesn't have, then I can use my discretion to give the floor to whoever I'm supposed to give the floor.
Speaker, with respect, but even that notwithstanding. Oh, what is that? I am not debating. I'm saying, please, would you listen? Listen to me.
Don't lecture anybody here. Please, defer to the chairman. Defer to the chairman. You are not the chairman.
Look, you see, you are not tolerant.
Please,
learn to
defer to the chairman. You seem to be lecturing everybody.
To us. I'm not
defer to the chairman. Respect the chair.
No. Yes, so our colleague is deferring.
You have made a request.
I'm just saying that he's deferring.
You have made a request.
Look, I am the chief. I have a responsibility to also
guide my members. You have made a request. Allow the chairman to make the decision.
Why?
Please, allow the chairman to make the decision.
So, Honorable Kofi Mafo, you have exhausted all your questions. Yes, now, yes, Honorable Kennedy Osenyako, you want to clarify an issue. What is the clarification?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a few clarifications. When the Honorable nominee stated that there wasn't any contract for the E-Gate, I'm surprised. That is the first one. Second, he claimed that same project is being done by Civil Aviation Authority. These are two different projects. The E-Gate was started by the World Bank. They did a few ones, and at a point in time, there was no funding, so after the World Bank project, it was suspended. Now Ghana Immigration Service decided to find an innovative means to get the rest to be done. It is not, the cost of the project is not going to be borne by the government of Ghana. Passengers will be paid. They are going to pay for it. It's part of the ticket. And secondly, the API project.
Order. I believe the nominee is capable of dealing with the issue.
The airport passenger information project, which is being done by Civil Aviation Authority, is completely different from what the Immigration Service is doing. So I just want to put it on record. I don't know where he got his information from, but I believe some of this we need to put it in the proper context, not to degenerate any kind of controversies at the end. So
thank you very much. Honorable nominee, any comment?
Yes, my good friend is the ranking currently, and he understands that we both have deep understanding of what's happening at the airport. As part of UN Security Council resolution, those of us who travel through some airports, let's take Singapore. You will notice that when you get to the airport, you don't meet any immigration officer. You take your passport, place it on the e-gate, and it goes through. It is only when they have issues with you that they will direct you to a human being. Why? Because you have provided information already to the authorities in Singapore, and they've checked it, and you are okay. So he's right. When we talk about this, people think we are talking about, initially, immigration said it costs 1.7 million cedis. It is an integrated project. If you read their press release, and I think Graphic published it, they confirmed that, yes, point number 5, the e-gate system alone comprises 15 units of e-gate with accessories, which form part of the border management system being installed at KIA at a cost of $1.7 million. Then if you go back, point number 6, they then go on and say that the 240 million referenced in the in circulation in the article they are referring to me on my social media handle relates to the whole life cycle cost, and the project, including the initial implementation, would cost $94 million. Who says Ghanaians are not going to pay? If you take tax from Ghanaians on behalf of government, it's government money. Why is the entity, this particular entity, believe that something that another entity is ready to do for free? And I'm repeating, this e-gate integrated system is already part of what another entity is doing for free. The records are there. Go to Ghana Airport Ghana Civil Aviation Authority today and find out whether they have started implementing a project which would have provided the e-gate for free, and come and report to the committee. So this matter must be settled, and that is why I say that Ghana Immigration Service did not debunk me. They actually confirmed what I have said. I know exactly what I'm saying, and I would even encourage them. As far as the UN resolution is concerned, UN Security Council resolution is concerned, it is the law that we have done for Ghana Civil Aviation Authority that is what is supposed to be used to implement this. Immigration officials are only supposed to play a role. Second, it is also something that Ghanaians should look at. Today, we have over 1,000 immigration officers working at the airport. Can you believe it? 1,000 immigration officers at Kotoka alone. Yes. It turns out some people have to go to work once every 2 weeks. So I'm not saying immigration officers are not needed, but which country do you go to that before you check in your bag, somebody checks you? After you check in your bag, before you even approach the immigration officer, 2 more immigration officers look at your passport and give it back to you. Then you go into the booth. Then they stamp your passport. Then when you get out, another immigration officer sees you. Then when you finish and they scan you, somebody is also looking at. Which airport do you see this? It makes experience of when we advertise that Ghana is a gateway for tourism and other things. We all have friends who are expatriates. They don't enjoy this experience. They get treated as if they are criminals until they are proven otherwise. So we need to work on this. So I encourage Ghana Immigration Service, please work with Ghana Civil Aviation Authority to implement this project. And at all costs, if we can get it for free, don't even attempt to take $1 from anybody.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Yusuf Suleimana.
Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Nominee, let me also congratulate you for your nomination. Like others have said, when it comes to your competence, nobody doubts it. My first question relates to concrete roads. In 2017, the former vice president, I'm talking about the defeated presidential candidate of the MPP, Dr. Muhammadu Mahmoud Bawumia, promised Ghanaians that he was going to build concrete roads. And in his opinion, concrete roads are durable, concrete roads are cheaper, and concrete roads are the roads that Ghanaians deserve. You are not there yet, but I believe that you might have interacted with experts or officers of the ministry. Do we have any concrete roads built after their promise was made? And do we intend to go that direction? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yusuf, for this very important question. I remember the story was linked to the former vice president when he visited one of the roads in Tema. Actually, that project was being executed by a private entity. Exactly. So he went there and saw what was going on and liked it and said, henceforth, you're not going to see asphalt, you're going to see concrete roads everywhere. The fact is that I am not aware government has constructed any concrete road anywhere. It is also misleading to say concrete roads will be cheaper than asphalt, because the QSs and engineers will tell you the road you see as concrete road is actually a reinforced concrete slab. That is one of the highest level of concrete with steel in it. So how is that supposed to be cheaper than in fact, you can get anything between 15 to 30% depending on the mix of the concrete as the additional cost over asphalt. So yes, in some cases, if we can, we should build concrete road. Currently, the only public concrete road of significance is the Accra-Tema motorway, built by President Nkrumah. I'm not aware of any major concrete road project currently ongoing or completed.
Thank you.
Just a second. I want to draw my colleague's attention. He just asked his question. For heaven's sake, please, leave Dr. Bawumia alone. Leave Dr. Bawumia alone.
Honorable,
I'm not going to take it lightly. Any attacks. Any attacks.
Honorable.
You should leave the man alone.
Honorable Anodompre, you are out of order. Order. You are out of order. Honorable Yusuf, proceed with your next question.
Mr. Chairman, I'm grateful. Mr. Chairman, I think my minority leader should be a bit tolerant. And as long as Chief Whip should be tolerant, and as long as the former president will take all the benefits that are due a former vice president, we will refer to him as and when it's necessary.
Proceed to ask your question.
Yes, Chairman, I will do that. Chairman, even though the nominee has already answered a question on abandoned roads, I want to find out. There were some roads that were abandoned for political reasons. For instance, take roads in the Bole Bamboy constituency. All roads that were started under the NDC administration in 2015-2016 were all abandoned. As a member of parliament, I asked a question on the floor of parliament as to when those roads were going to be fixed. And I remember very well, my good friend, Honorable Patrick Boama, interjected and said that what was Mama doing and he didn't fix the roads? What was President Mama doing and he didn't fix the roads when he was the president? Today, if we are going to address the issue of abandoned roads, will you consider prioritizing those that were abandoned for political reasons to complete them before you look at other roads? That's my question.
Chairman, for the vivid explanation and very unfortunate situation described by my good colleague, that will be priority number one in terms of completing abandoned road projects.
Yeah. So
Do you have a follow-up on that?
No,
a member has a follow-up.
My
So
last one.
I recognize Patrick.
No,
Guama.
my last one.
Chairman, I was just, I was just putting my good friend from Bole Bamboy on record that he should produce the Hansard that said I made those comments on the floor, else those comments ought to be expunged. I'm also referring the chairman to Standing Orders 86 on questions and require of you to do exactly what I've requested. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You see, proceed to ask the question without all these sideline commentaries.
Mr. Chairman, those are the ones that makes the question sweet. Mr. Nominee, my third question is that one of the major roads in the Western Corridor starts from Tichimai up to Hamili. As I speak to you, the road is in a very deplorable state. That instead of using 3-4 hours to travel on it, you need a whole day. It's because it was abandoned for 8 good years. Will you prioritize this road when next week you are approved? And I know you'll be approved. Tell me.
Thank you very much. Nominee.
Thank you. Thank you.
Order.
Thank you, my very good friend, Honorable Yusuf. As long as you say about those projects, that is priority number 2.
Yeah. No, I have a follow-up on this. Follow-up. I have a follow-up.
Thank you very much.
I have a follow-up.
A follow-up on the Techiman.
Yes.
Very well.
Yes. I said to you that it got deteriorated because of lack of maintenance. So I want to find out, will you prioritize regular maintenance of roads in this country? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, he asked a very important question. The principle is that you should spend more on maintenance of your existing roads than building new roads. So, but the records we have in terms of road maintenance, and my colleagues on the road committee can tell, things have gone really bad in the past 8 years. In fact, the record of road maintenance we had in 2016 is unmatched till today. If you check 2023 record, in areas that we do 9,000 kilometers, the MPP government was doing just 3,000. So they have really let the country down in terms of road maintenance program. So I said it in one of my initial responses that we need to commit more to road maintenance. Sometimes all you need to do is to spend a little amount of money to address a spot improvement. Yes. And the road can still continue to be motorable. But once you abandon it, it becomes a major problem and makes the whole road, the use of the road, not safe at all. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Honorable members. Honorable Jaja, order. Honorable members, in line with order 2177, I will take a question from Jerry Shaibu as a member of the leadership of the House. So, Jerry, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I first wish to congratulate Honorable Govins Agboja. My question is, I have made some observations. Please, can you? I've made some very critical observations, including the road markings, street lights, quality of roads, traffic lights, and I don't think that my government has been in power since the inception of this country. So, yes. So, Mr.
Honorable
Chair,
Jerry, address the chair.
Mr. Chair, yes, I am addressing you.
So please proceed with your question.
I have realized that most of these are dysfunctional. So from my beloved Malam to Kaswa, you would realize that no street light is working. When you get on the major road, the motorway, you would also realize that, stop talking, no street light is working. Most road markings are also not working. In the night, it's not very safe to drive. You can easily get an accident. I know your capacity. I know that you want to prevent accidents. You want to have people drive in a very clean, motorable roads. I just want to find out, what are your plans to have them resolved? Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much. Yes.
Honorable Nominee, your response.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think my colleague has asked a very important question. This is our capital city. It is strange that you drive in parts of our city at night and the roads are not illuminated well. No road. Number of friends from abroad, when they come, they keep asking, how are you able to drive on these roads? Because there's no signage. Ministry of Energy does supply street lights sometimes. And sometimes they supply these street lights and give to the assemblies and others and ask them to go and install. Whether those lights are of the highest quality is another question. Whether they are installed properly is another matter. So it is a synergy between Ministry of Energy and the local authorities. As for the roads, the physical roads are under the domain of the road ministry. The safety on the road is between Ministry of Road and Ministry of Transport, because National Road Safety Authority is under Ministry of Transport. So I think this issue can best be addressed with a combination of how we take a second look at that. Whose job is it to supply, install, and maintain street lights in Adaklu? Is it Ministry of Energy or the Adaklu District Assembly? That question has never been answered. But we all see street light distributed to the assemblies and sometimes through members of parliament. Well, mainly during elections. So we need to address this. And many people have also complained that some of the street lights that are supplied don't last. Maybe it is the way it is installed. Maybe it is something else. So we'll address it. But the major things you talked about, including your constituency and the motorway, are of concern. The challenge, though, is that the motorway is currently under contract. They may have to do some work to an extent for us to know where the street lighting would be. Because perhaps if you go and even fix them today, next week, when they are doing clearing, maybe it will be in the right-of way, it will not be there. So as for the motorway, we may have to provide a temporary situation. By your area, we'll look at it. When this committee generously recommends me to the plenary and I get approval and go to the ministry, I promise to get a...
Any further question?
Yes,
Honorable
Mr. Chair.
Deputy Whip.
Mr. Chair, I also heard my very good friend enumerate a lot of problems. One of the major ones is the interest on contracts. And I think I heard you say it's about 30%. Are you considering redrafting contracts so that the 28 days, which is normally when IPCs are raised and they are supposed to be paid, and there is default in payment, that is where now the interest arises, are you considering redrafting contracts? And if so, are we also considering making prompt payments to contractors? Because this is where, and also, are you also actually considering having a synergy with maybe some banks so that they can perhaps provide mobilization and pre-financing of some of these projects instead of rather getting to pay them as interest? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Whip, are you talking about review of those contracts or redrafting?
Chairman, yes, Chairman, I think I get what he's saying, and I know you are one of the experienced lawyers in this house. You know, once the contract has taken effect, any attempt to go and redraft portions of that contract, you can, but you need the agreement of the parties that form that contract. So it will be more of the new contracts. I think that is what he's talking about. But that is not the solution. The solution is prompt payment. I know that some banks initially took up the responsibility of providing some support to the contractors. Many of those banks have withdrawn since because of this interest matter. Well, I don't want to mention the banks. Some of them will say, we'll take you on, but we don't want to be responsible for the interest between you and government. Like I said, if you see what has happened on the first issue in 2018, because the delays was on 2,464 days times 30%. So you can imagine. So every 28 days is calculated and added to the other one. So indeed, we have to look at some of the way we write some of these contracts. But until government begins to pay promptly, that would still be very little in terms of achievement in reducing the interest on delayed payment.
Any further questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is just a follow-up. And this is on the basis of the review and the redraft aspect. I'm looking at contracts that you would now, as it were, now construct. So new contracts. As to whether or not you want to review, that's not within my remit. But I'm looking at contracts that, as Minister of Roads, are you considering maintaining the 28 days where, when there is a default, you are going to pay interest of 30%? That is the question, please.
Well, thank you very much. You referred to me as Minister of Roads. It is only going to happen when you give it. So I take it as amen. But it is difficult to just say here without consultation. I said earlier, there will be the need for engagement with stakeholders. That's Ministry of Finance, Attorney General, and then my ministry. We can come up with something that is more humane to the contractor and sustainable to government. So I'm hoping, when approved, I would update the House as to the best way forward with regard to this particular matter.
Any further questions?
Yes. Honorable nominee, so the repeal of Act 540, that established the Ghana Highway Authority, and what you think the National Labour Commission has done to virtually suspend the implementation of the National Roads Authority. What's your take or your view on
that? It's now an act. We have actually passed it. It's in force. The rationale behind that law is to not collapse the road agencies, but harmonize the way they work, which requires creating a new apex body, led by the Director General. Not much about the law, but it appears implementation has got to a point where there's a snag. So there's a lot of discomfort at the road agencies, highways, feeder road, and urban roads. What I can commit to do is to sit down with them and see the best way. I'm hearing all sorts of things, I have no way of verifying them in terms of who is appointed to be the head, which agency the people are from. It is to be premature for me to make any definitive comment on that, but I know the House has approved it. If it is necessary for us to pause the implementation and take a look at it, I will come to the House and seek your approval. If it requires, let's go ahead, but make some changes and bring some allies to operationalize it. I will do the same thing, but it is premature for me to make any sweeping statements about that at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your last question.
Yes, Honorable nominee. So I've also cited President Mohammed's 120-day social contract. I did not see anything in reference to roads. Does that make it a priority? And is it a matter that you would want to pay a lot of attention to?
Well, Chairman.
Honourable members, can we have order?
President Mahama.
Can we have order?
President Mahama is very clear on his mind as to what is contained in the 120-day commitment he's made to the people of this country. Indeed, Mr. Chairman, with the kindness of our colleagues from both sides, me being vetted today is also a record of the expeditious way President Mahama promised to form his government. And I want to thank my colleagues from the minority side. The issues he wanted to put before Ghanaians, he's placed them before Ghanaians. It is based upon that he's been given the unprecedented win in this election. So if Ghanaians wanted him to add road and every detail, they would have talked about it. Road is a priority to President Mahama, but let's look at how he delivers on the 120-day commitment, which includes the repeal of some taxes and many other things, which you rightly said. After that, we can pay attention to other things. But he's not saying until after the 120 days, we are not going to be dealing with roads. Indeed, this is just a second batch of ministers, and the road ministry is part of it. It tells you how much premium he places on the road ministry and other ministries. The other ones are going to come along the same thing. It doesn't mean that the ministries that are not here are not premium, but I'm saying that with specific to the road you talked about, he places a lot of emphasis. And you can also attest to the fact that some of the best and biggest interventions on road in this country happened under his leadership. So he's got a track record of delivering, and he will deliver.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Lydia Odole-Soa. Rita Odole-Soa.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I wish to congratulate my leader, who has been nominated by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, for your nomination. Honorable Leader, talking about roads, Honorable Nominee, talking about roads, thank you for the correction. Yeah. The Accra Beach Road, Accra-Tema Beach Road, which passes through the Dade-Kotopong constituency, started construction a long time ago, and the contractor has abandoned site. Due to this, there are quite a number of accidents and pedestrians being knocked down by vehicles because we do not have street lights to be on during the night. I want to find out from the Honorable Leader whether you are going to add this to your priority list to ensure that the La Beach Road will be constructed in due time to assist pedestrians and motorists who ply that route.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and I thank our colleague for the question. I live in Tema, so I know the importance of the beach road as an alternative route into Tema. Indeed, that project was ongoing, and originally part of the China Development Bank 3 billion agreement by, may his soul rest in peace, President Mills. Since then, the loan was stopped and restarted under President Akufo-Addo. Unfortunately, that project is suffering the same fate of many other projects, including motorway, Adomi, motorway, what do you call it, Central University, and many others. So indeed, the contractor is not on site. Once again, it is difficult to ask the contractor to go and fix street lights where he hasn't gotten a stage to do that. But I think there can be safety measures deployed temporarily to make sure it is safe. So talking to the resident engineer, I think we can discuss how to make it safe for now whilst we wait for the completion of that particular project. It's a very important project. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question or follow-up before?
Further question.
Further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. And Honorable Leader, I'm glad the NDC administration is bringing back the toll booths operations. And I also want to support my colleague that when operations begin, in as much as we want to prevent leakages, the persons with disability who were recruited earlier and dismissed should be reconsidered so that they also be gainfully employed to take care of their families. I want to have your take on that.
Thank you very much. We are bringing tolling of public roads back. We are not bringing toll booths back. As I said, it will be deployed on a platform, which means that there wouldn't be physical toll booths where drivers will have to stop and pay. So with regards to the disabled people, sure, we are going to be able to re-engage them. I even said that earlier. We'll re-engage them and make sure that those of them who are capable of playing a role are brought on board to play a role on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further question or follow-up? Very well.
Thank
Your
you,
last question.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Minister, nominee, going into the Ministry of Roads and Highways, your colleagues will be knocking at your doors, and I believe we are going to find you when we come there, including myself. I know there are some 2 doors to your office, and I believe when you are there, you attend to us and open your doors to us. On this note, I want to say congratulations on your nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me an idea of where the doors are. I've not gotten there yet, so I don't know where the doors are, but surely the door that opens for you to see me, I'm one of you, will be able to do this together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's now the turn of Honorable Patrick Yaw-Boamah.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Let me congratulate my good friend and brother Kwame Agbodza for his nomination. I wish you the very best, Kwame. Kwame, just to inform you that Sunyani Techiman, Wenchi, Sola, Wa have all been awarded for rehabilitation, and Messrs. Maripoma, Hardwick, and Volta Impex are the contractors. Just to inform you. Thank you. To my first question. Tesano has very good roads. Kwame,
please proceed. Please proceed. Address the chair and proceed with your question.
I will continue,
Honorable Suleimana Yusuf, please. It is not only speaking into the mic that can be disruptive. If we talk about disruption, it is not necessarily speaking into the microphone. So please, take a cue. Your question.
Chairman, every MP from Circle, that's Okankwe South, to Paga, if that person doesn't fly, we either go through the east or through the central corridor. The dualization of that stretch began in 2002 under President Kufuor. Minister Gidisu, at a point, suspended the dualization program to the extent that Honorable Alote Jacobs, at the time after your Congress in Sunyani, raised issues with that suspension. President Kufuor came, he continued from Kwafu Krom, which is in Samoa Duajiri, to Apedra. I remember in 2009, President Mahama even commissioned the overpass around the old Peace FM area. 9 indigenous contractors, Kwame, are undertaking the dualization program. Osino and up to a point around your area, Jasu, that area. Want an assurance from you whether those projects will be duly completed and the remaining 94 kilometers from Jasu to Konongo will be tackled, and to continue from where the Swami interchange is being constructed through Techiman, Kentampo, and Tamale and beyond. That defines our country's road infrastructure. And the fact that a similar intervention was made from Rawlins's time, may so rest in peace, Kaneshi to Malam, Kufuor continued to Kaswa, to Yamransa, and to Alubo, under President Mills and President Rawlins. Amen. Kwame, those are critical roads that has caused a lot of accidents. And if for any reason you want to be remembered for as a good minister for roads, including Bong to Aflao, you need to remember for these roads. What assurances are you giving to the good people of this country on these critical roads that I've mentioned? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I earlier gave the indication that the President himself had committed to completing ongoing projects. You are also right by listing these projects as projects on site. The little challenge is that many of these projects are on the back of GOG. So once the contractors raise certificate, they are not paid. In fact, the bypasses on the Accra-Kumasi Road, you can tell that the intensity of the contractors have dwindled significantly. So it is not merely awarding the project. It is about finding sustainable sources of funding to deal with them. You will notice that in 2022 or so, you mentioned Swami Interchange. We approved the loan. I probably was the one who seconded the motion for it because it's a critical, intersection in Kumasi. And the way it is creates a problem. Since we approved it, it was supposed to be a project done in 36 months. But you know that the contractor only turned up on site somewhere close to the end of this year, in the last year. And the percentage of work done on the interchange, guess what? Less than 2%. Terrible. Yeah, there are two components. The interchange component and the other road network within the area. The other road network within the area is just about less than 10% work done. Also because of the debt restructuring, because it's a loan, a commercial loan from somewhere. So as long as we can find the resources, and I indicated earlier, my job is to prepare and package projects and for the finance minister to fund. I would never relent in the advocacy to make sure we have enough money in the kitty to pay contractors working in our communities, including Adaklu. I have no doubt that colleagues have the bigger burden of addressing road issues in their communities than anybody else. And together, once we can find the resources, we can deal with these things together, including the road to Joaso and everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further
You
questions?
love Joaso. Kwame, I don't know if you have your party's manifesto with you. If not, let me turn your attention to Chapter 4 of the NDC 2024 Manifesto. Powering growth through infrastructural development, and more particularly to the road sector. Let me get there. You've listed a lot of roads and bridges to be constructed under that paragraph. That's paragraph 4.2.5, upgrading road transportation systems. A lot of roads. Pages 107 of 200, Roxanne, if you care to know. Pullman, Kuma, Boko, Boga, Tumuwa, Tamale, Yendi. You've listed a lot of roads. Abrin, Sawam, and to the extent that you are promising to even regularize Okada and what have you. And it's in the manifesto. I've seen about 13 bridges and also a paragraph on road safety. Kwame, given the situation in which you find yourself in and the facts alluded to, that the indebtedness of the road sector is close to 100 billion cedis, which you know that the MTEF had made provision to pay for it over a period, and is captured for the 2025 to 28 MTEF program. How are you going to fund all these ambitious projects? Is it going to be another Green Book promise? Kwame.
Thank you very much. And
please, order.
Chairman,
please, order.
I'm happy.
Order.
These are very important questions, and I'm happy he mentioned Green Book. Kumasi Airport Phase 1 and 2 was mentioned in the Green Book. In fact, I was there at the meeting in Kumasi, yes, when the committee insisted that the phase that came around the time NPP came be added to the phase. Today, the airport is there for all of us, Prempeh International, and it's to the credit of this committee. MPS project at Tema, that is the port project, is in the Green Book. And that project is one of the most viable income generation entities for the government of Ghana. The Legon Hospital is in the Green Book. And it's one of, the highest end of medical facility in our country. The Ridge Hospital is in the Green Book, and it's one of the best. And many, many more. Circle interchange. Tamale Airport phase 1. So, as for the Green Book, it is a record of achievement. And I think maybe unlike the project tracker, these ones are a bit in color. You can see them in color. But the significant question you asked, how do you fund this? I must be frank, and I've said it already. The finance minister designate was here, and he said the revenue is just about 200 billion. How do we fund all the things that we needed to fund, including salaries of us members of parliament? We have to work together to cut waste. How do you cut waste? The fact that President Mahama is insisting on having only 60 ministers is one of the ways to cut waste, without a doubt. Nobody would have thought that a president would say 60, and that includes deputy ministers, regional ministers. People say he cannot do it. He is doing it. So he's a man of his word. Yes, it's going to be tough, but NDC has got tough people to address the issue. I am not promising all these roads that have been awarded I was very unhappy when we approved the Swami interchange, and work never started until somewhere close to the end of last year. And as we speak, less than 5% of the work done. How could we have done that to somebody who served this house all this year? I'm talking about Honorable Che Mensah Bonsu. We've not been fair to him. So, yes, we'll continue that project as long as we find the money and deal with this. So, I agree with you that the list of projects is almost endless. And the difficulty is that some of the methods used to procure these projects also ought to be reviewed. If you have a situation where, for instance, a project is awarded in Ghana to a Ghanaian contractor on a design and build, he comes up and he goes to site and he later comes to tell us how much he wants to charge. Meanwhile, you have already contracted. And he comes up with even a ridiculous figure, you are bound to deal with it. So we are also committing that major projects will be prepared, costed better, so that we can tie the cost down so that we can budget properly and get them done. So your question is very important, and we shall do exactly that.
Thank you very much, Kwame. My last question.
Yes.
Yeah. It's on the Volivo Adafo Adidome Bridge. I know the Japanese have given us some funding for it, and it's less than the project sum. How are you going to raise money to top up or to get a full funding? Thank you. And congratulations again, Kwame. I'm done.
I think my colleague has a very important question. This project is very dear to the people who use that corridor. In 2016, I think once again I was, on behalf of my then chairman, moved a motion for the adoption of this. So the bridge component was coming from JICA. I think it's just about 10 billion yuan or something like that. The difficulty is that since then, for the 8 years, we didn't do much because the Japanese insisted we build the approaches from Asuchari Junction to the bridge and from the bridge to Esikuma. Because the bridge, the access has to be there for them to come and install the bridge. It is only recent that I'm told AFDB have given the money for the construction of the approaches. The contractor, we are told, just mobilized to site, so you wouldn't see much going on. Yes, you are right. When they went to tender, the bidder who won the tender, the bid is twice what the Japanese have committed to give us. So it will be important for government to approach Japan to discuss the funding gap to make sure the project works. I am hopeful we can do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's not the turn of Honorable Mahama Ayariga. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And let me join colleagues to congratulate our Chief Whip on his nomination to the Roads Ministry. You gave us an indication of the commitments of the Roads Ministry. And then we have seen very starkly the variation between what we actually got by virtue of the value of projects executed and what we owe by virtue of having not paid and then the debt accumulating based on interest calculated based on a formula that you yourself disagree with in terms of road contracting. That is evidence of a certain indiscipline, which is to award contracts when you haven't budgeted for them. You haven't made provision for them in your budget, you don't have money for them, and then you award contracts. Is this a culture that will continue?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No. This is not a culture that Ghanaians even want us to continue, even if we wanted to continue. I can understand why some projects may be awarded in an emergency without full packaging. But the norm should be that projects are properly packaged, costed before going to site. And we have already committed that that will be the norm for major projects. If it's necessary for us to do quick interventions, i.e. a bridge is collapsing, that is a different one. But the norm should be that projects should receive best value for money through competitive tendering. Thank you.
And the second question
Thank you very much.
The second question is, when you're flying into Accra, when you're flying into Kumasi, and I think the same for Takoradi, you will see that apart from the major roads to the communities, in between the residential facilities, I would say 90% of the roads are not done. And then when you go into an estate, go to any estate, you find that the estate owner has done all the inner roads of the estate and apportioned the cost to property owners in the estate, and they are happy to pay and live in very fine estate with all the roads done so that in the evening they and their families can walk around, exercise, and then they are happy. Does that give you an indication? Does that give an indication of some mechanism that probably exists for financing those inner roads between the residential areas that you could be looking at?
Yes, Chairman, it's even associated with even government projects. There are significant hospital projects done in this country, commissioned and is in use. But the road between the hospital and the main road is nothing to write home about. So if you were to be even in an ambulance, the threshold between the public road and the hospital is difficult. I agree with you. If an estate developer can cost the internal roads into and spread the cost over the individual unit, why is it difficult to do 1 kilometer from the estate to the main road? It's a question. But maybe it's just a matter of engagement between the planning authorities that approve the estate and the developer. I'm sure anybody who lives in an estate where the roads are asphalted within and have to struggle for 1 kilometer before you get to the main road would have preferred that a small amount is added to the cost of the unit he purchased to have that freedom. And I think it's something we can discuss with the planning authorities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe congratulations are in order.
Thank you. It's now the time of the turn of the whip. Minority Chief Whip, Honorable Anodom Pray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, let me join my colleagues to congratulate my friend. In fact, it's one of the nominees whose name I heard, and I said in my heart that this is a well-deserved one. I commend you highly. You've been patient over the years, and the two of us have had a lot in common. I want to thank you publicly for all the cooperation when you was minority whip. Yes, we worked together. At a point, many of our colleagues had a reason to complain that we were too close. It was for the good of you. Honorable Dafemekpo, it was for your welfare. And all that matters is important. So today, let's set the record straight. Our closeness was for your good. It was for your good.
For his promotion.
I intend to be brief on the line of questioning. Everybody knows in this house, Kwame, his professional background is known, his passion, things to be done right in the sector is also known. Honorable Whip, you've answered most of the questions, and if I'm doing by way of recap, I think questions on outstanding payment, you've spoken and contextualized the matters involved. Your 10 billion USD matter, you've also contextualized it. You've also spoken about the network. My good friend, Honorable Boama, walked you through the spine of road, very critical, and you've answered. Even though some of your answers were evasive, I thought you'd try to answer. Garnishing of our account, the ministry's account, I think you've also answered in passing where you spoke up to how contracts are constructed and the effect of it, ultimate effect. My question would be, now that you've observed that the way contracts at the ministry are put together poses some danger going forward, and you have been ranking for a number of years, I don't want you to tell me you are going to sit with the Minister of Finance and you see the way out. I want to hear from you, because I know you have strong professional background in terms of your ability to profess solution. Contracts. What do you think, if you are going to depart from what is happening, how should we go about it?
Thank you, Chairman. I earlier said for putting together construction contracts, you need the advice of Attorney General, the Ministry, and the Ministry of Road and Highways, and Ministry of Finance. Why? Whatever you put together as a contract must be enforceable and must be fair to the parties. I know, for instance, the insertion of the 30% in most of those contracts was intended to protect, to do public work. If you are a road contractor, you use your house as a collateral to take money to do a road leading to my village. Should we let the bank take your house simply because by the time you were paid, the value of the money is not up to what you borrowed plus the interest? No. But it has done a 360 where it is no longer helpful. My solution, we still need to dialogue. It is not fair for me to just sit here and declare that the house.
In mind that we will not forget what you are telling us today, and we'll keep reminding you. Thankfully, all of us will be in the chamber, so we'll keep reminding you of the things you are speaking to. Yes. Now, I've looked at your CV. Your work experience is so admirable, and your educational background. If you want to contextualize your educational background, as a great architect, and then work experience, I've seen, what are you bringing to the table? And what are you going to do differently? Do that at the end of the 4 years, mind you, President Mahama has only 4 years. At the end of the 4 years, the Honorable governs, the handsome man from Adaklu. What are we going to remember you for?
Thank you very much. And I agree with you that there has to be something everybody stands for. As Minister, for us to find a sustainable way. And my background gives me an opportunity to work with other stakeholders in the built environment. And I intend to leverage on that significantly to address many of the issues we have, including compensation. I did not even talk about how much we pay for compensation on things we should have done. As you know, there are right-of-ways that belong to government, and in 5 years, other state agencies lease those right-of-ways, and government now have to find money and buy them up. So what I bring on board is my background in the built environment, which requires us to do things professionally and on time. You know, my passion is, even if you have to come to work and do nothing, come on time. And I'm going to insist that things are done on time. If we can't deliver something on time, I'll be one of the first to say why we can't deal with it. So I come on board to project the vision of President Mahama to deliver on what is promised Ghanaians. By the way, every president only has 4 years. You only get additional 4 years if you are voted again.
Well, that is very usual of Kwame. He will try to come back at you. Anyway, it's okay. Honorable nominee, this will be my last question. You have been ranking for some time. And if yourself and the chair, Honorable Osenyako, are two members of this house that I can just close my eyes and point at, are people we can follow when it comes to the road sector. And you are one sincere person I know. In the context of your sincerity as part of your persona, tell me, what are some of the things that the MPP administration, the elsewhere MPP administration, 3 things that you can say, speaking as a Ghanaian, not putting on the cap of being on your propaganda stage, but your cap of patriotism, and I know you are, 3 things that you can say the MPP did well, and for nothing at all, you can praise them for it.
Chairman.
Honourable members, order.
First of all, I will say I commend the former Vice President that despite all the rhetoric about we will not hand over and the NDC cannot win, when we won massively, he quickly handed over. And I want to commend him. I'm not sure he did that with the help of the party. I'm told people got angry with him when he did that. With the second thing, I believe it was good for the NPP to have vision for education and other things. However, I thought the implementation of part of that.
I won't judge the positives.
That will be a bit difficult. So I'll end it here.
Chairman, I'm done. I want to commend my good friend, and I also want to wish him well in the ministry when graciously we all approve of him.
Thank you very much. I proceed to give the floor to Honorable Roxanne Nelson Kwame Echeda.
You got here by dint of, and let me say that you've been in the parliamentary system, you've been a shadow minister.
contractors may not know about you is that you don't like shoddy work. So contractors should take note. You don't like shoddy work. You don't like lateness. And above all, you like people being candid and honest with you. So they should take note. So I wish you well. And I know you will succeed. With all the difficulties, you deliver on your mandate. We know of the agencies under you, the programs and policies they have in road maintenance, their policies and programs. And the figures from the agencies leave much to be desired. So what will you be doing as a policy change, as an arrowhead for the ministry? What will be the change in your approach to maintaining our roads? So that, for instance, the new road that is between Askuma through Peki to Kweve Have, when there's a pothole, we'll quickly seal it so it doesn't deteriorate, leading to the entire road degenerating to something else. We have to look for big money to go and patch that entire stretch. What would be your change in approach to rehabilitating roads?
Thank you very much, my brother, and opportunity. And as long as we work together, I learn from everybody as well. As I said earlier, I am going into a ministry with very big interests. 3 major road agencies. I don't know everything about the ministry yet. I've been looking at it from outside. I need to get in there, take my time to understand them, and together with the players in there, chart a path that makes road construction a viable business for the Ghanaian businessman, the communities getting better roads coming into their communities, and all of us living happily in peace. So what I will do, and I can commit to, is I'll go listen, and then we develop the best way forward. At the moment, it is difficult to say emphatically what I'll meet.
Feeder road, abandoned, awarded but abandoned in my constituency. That is Todomechate to Utongo, Germany. Then I know of Botoku Trukwe to Vakpo Road. Then I know the nature of Ashaman roads. Now, would you consider in rolling out, improving, rehabilitating, and general construction of roads? Will you consider allotting it on regional basis so that, for instance, every region basically could have, say, 50 to 60 kilometers of roads done? Some regions are more important than others in terms of this requirement, but basically, every region could boast of, say, 60 to 70 kilometer stretch of roads that are done every year, if that's feasible. And before you answer, let me conclude by saying, Mauli School, we are proud of you. We are about 6 in this parliament, and we are very proud of you. Yes. We are 6, yes. And that's remarkable. So, we are very proud of you. And the whole OMSU is also proud of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's always a privilege to go to the best secondary school in Ghana, so that is acceptable. Yes, the road you mentioned, including your own road, I visited you a number of times at Tongo, and I noticed there was a contractor working on the road, but it's not completed. And the other ones that you mentioned, all this, frankly, would hinge on our ability to fund them. You asked the question and answered it in part. It would have been nice to just say, like common fund, take a quantum of money, split it between 276 constituencies. But you know, some districts are bigger than others, some have more complication. But what we can commit to do is that every community should have the ability to see, or we should do something in every constituency. There are plans. Some of the things you talk about, Shama, I had a discussion with an entity. You know, the MPS project originally was supposed to cover the hospital road all the way to the motorway. The motorway is now a different contract, but the opportunity is there to see what we can do from the hospital road all the way into Ashama. So when that discussion starts, I will engage my colleague, the MP for Ashama, to see how we can take advantage of that to complete that section which was started and stopped into Ashama and new town areas in Ashama. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now move to Honorable Patricia Piaget, Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And I'd like to also add my voice to congratulate our brother, Honorable Abuja, for your nomination. And the responsibility given to you to ensure that our road sector is well managed. I have listened to you attentively. You've come out with all kinds of solutions, but you've been lamenting about finance. And I know that you rightly agree that ab initio, you are faced with a problem of financial inadequacy. But one of the issues that needs your urgent attention, for which Honorable Dafia Mapo has already raised, but I want us to have a very clear idea about it, and I'm talking about the road maintenance. If we want to avoid the issue of an upsurge of accidents, which will result in high fatalities, it is an issue we need to address properly. And I am very much aware that when it comes to road maintenance, we begin to experience bad roads, especially during the rainy season. So I want you to come out with a clear plan of how you're going to reduce road accidents by ensuring high maintenance of our roads. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You will see in the first budget of the President through the Finance Minister, there will be a commitment to do this in a better way. I earlier said that if you take the record of the last year of NDC in government, which is reported in the 2017 budget, you will see how much work we've done in terms of maintenance on our roads. We are going back to that same program to allocate more resources for road maintenance. You are right. Many communities are not even asking for new roads. All they are asking for is to make their existing roads motorable. And we can do that. We also noticed government have procured some equipment under DRIP. I think we can put DRIP to much more better use, but let's wait and see the policy that will come out. But I can guarantee you, with the availability of those equipment in our communities, it can enhance improvement in terms of maintenance if we allocate budget for, how do you call it, materials and labor. We can do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nominee. In your answer, I was also expecting an aspect of road the causes of road deterioration. And in order to bring your attention to that fact, I want to ask you that many of our urban roads face rapid deterioration due to poor drainage systems. How will your ministry integrate sustainable drainage solutions into urban road projects? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. As a rule of thumb, I think it is a rule that when you are doing public roads through any built-up area, you need to provide the necessary safety features. Drainage, walkways, and where vehicular bus stops, and also speed tables in specific places. As a matter of fact, what we see in many of our communities over a period of time, many of the roads existed in the built-up areas. So what you see is mainly asphaltic overlay. They don't normally go to bring up the strength of the base and others, because the asphalt looks nice, so they lay it overnight. And you are right, road surface doesn't like stagnant water. Once the water pads on it over a period, it deteriorates. Yeah. But if you do the design well and it gets all the curves and other thing, the runoff is quick, but the runoff must go into a drain, and that drain must lead to take that water out of that community. So for existing roads, we can still do some improvement, but for new areas, we ought to adhere to these safety measures to make sure the roads last. So it's a very important observation you have made.
Thank you very much. But a follow-up on that. I think we've had several complaints from citizens that we have to reconsider the size of our drainage. And most of our drainage are also left open. And I didn't hear that from you. I want you to consider that fact and then tell us exactly how that can help, because it also goes into cost of construction. And so I would demand that from you, Honorable Member. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, that is a bit technical for the design of drains. As to what the size of the drain, the width, the depth, depends on what the engineers envisage in terms of how much water will be coming into it. But indeed, you are right. It's as if when you go through our communities, almost all U drains are the same size, as if rainfall and runoffs are the same in every community, which shouldn't be. So that one boils down to those who actually carry out the actual design of the drains as part of the road. So we need to work on that one as well. Thank you.
Honorable, you were in the chamber when the affirmative action bill was passed into law in July last year. Going to be responsible for the road sector. I want you to put on your gender lens. And once you wear your gender lens, I'd like to put this question to you. Women in construction, especially female contractors, have often been sidelined in awarding major road projects. How will your ministry ensure equitable opportunities for female contractors and create a more inclusive construction industry? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know few female road contractors, but you are right. The proportion is way against our female counterparts. The same applies to engineering. When I went to secondary school, I can tell after secondary school how many of our colleagues actually went to do engineering who are female versus male. So sometimes it's about their availability also. But we can make a conscious effort. I thought you were going to commend me that I was one of the champions who supported you to pass the affirmative, because it's necessary. I want my daughter to grow up to be whatever God wants her to be, and there shouldn't be any barrier based on her gender. So it is upon all of us to work together to make sure that wherever we find ourselves, we create fair opportunity for everybody, irrespective of gender, to participate fully in whatever activity it is. And I'll put on that lens as you suggested. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. A follow-up on that. I just want to find out if it would not be necessary to consciously ensure that you bring up women in that industry, or more women into that industry to ensure, because I know we women are very meticulous, and if they have to do a job, they will do it well. And so I'm expecting you, since you have been the gender champion, to also come out. Don't you think there should be an effort in that direction? Thank you.
Certainly, we should make a conscious effort to develop the capacity and give opportunity. So I'll take that sincerely on board. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah. My last question is on climate resilience. You know, road construction projects under the previous governments face criticisms for environmental degradation and poor climate resilience. How will you incorporate sustainable and climate resilient designs in your road project to mitigate flooding and other environmental challenges? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the case that sometimes when you are doing roads, the source of your heavy materials, crushed rocks and other things, may be very far away. So the amount of fuel, your pollution you need to carry out to convey material from the source to your site might increase that. But there are ways to do it. You should be able to identify closer material, so it means that you do less haulaging, and you be careful where you traverse when you are doing your road project. And maybe we need to start thinking about, if you were doing a road in a locality, would there be materials that are of equal quality that can be used locally, instead of deciding that you still go 50 kilometers to haulage material from somewhere to the site. So these are all climate resilience features that must appear in every activity we carry out, whether it's agriculture, house building, or road construction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I have to take back my word. This will be the last one, because I forgot to really look at the issue of traffic congestion. Honorable Minister, now every part of just some congestion. I would like to find out from you, in the major cities like Accra and Kumasi, what would you propose to ensure that we will be able to alleviate this congestion that we are facing? First, we know that we don't want to spend so much money on fuel, and consumption is very, very high. If prices of fuel are high, you know we're going to go through a lot of expenditure. So it is important that being given this opportunity, and as your president has said, you are resetting Ghana. So our president, the president of Republic of Ghana mentioned, yes, I've corrected it. We need to reset. So we have to consider how we can address this issue of heavy traffic congestion all over the city of Kumasi and Accra. Thank you. If you have any plan to.
Thank you very much. I read the, I think, 2013 and the revised version of the integrated transport policy of our country. The intention is to have an interagency strategy. For instance, there's no city in the world that has addressed traffic congestion by just building more roads. You need to have a combination of things. For instance, you build some roads, remove bottlenecks by building interchanges, but there has to be a concerted effort in public transport network. In the previous NDC government, we started this by deploying BRT, bus rapid transport, under the Ministry of Transport. As you know, that project did not actually see much progress since then. But if you are going to address traffic congestion in Accra, Kumasi, and others, you will need to deploy a variety of public transport systems and come up with policies that actually discourages people from using too much vehicles. For instance, many people will drive alone in their car from home to work simply because we don't have enough public transport system to do that. So it can't be a Ministry of Road alone intervention. It has to be an integrated inter-ministerial intervention, which is Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Environment, and the Ministry of Road to come up with the necessary strategies. Some light railway, some phase urgently, some interventions at some of the junctions. Swami is one of them. And Accra itself has got a number of them, but lack of funding is limiting the deployment of them. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your answer, but I want you to champion that because there should always be a champion. And I want to wish you well and hope that very soon you will be accepted as the Minister for Roads. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's now the turn of Honorable Ama Kofi Bua.
Honorable Kwame Agboja,
yes,
congratulations. Boss. I can say that you are going to succeed as a road minister when you are given the nod, because I have been a clear witness to your competence and your commitment and your hard work. I have also followed you as the ranking on roads and how passionate and committed you have been. You were noted to be always the first to be in the house. And the people in the road ministry must be ready for the minister who will not play with his time. And so congratulations. There's no doubt in my mind that you bring a lot of changes to the road ministry. I have shared with you so many times, and we've talked about stories about how deplorable roads in the western region and the western north region are. I'm sure President Mahama has himself talked to you about how passionate and his wish that some of these areas that are bread basket, food production, cocoa production, when we intervene and do these roads, they inure to the benefit of Ghana. There's no doubt in my mind that you are going to commit to addressing these roads, critical roads in the western north and western regions. I already have about 10 paramountcies that are ready to make you development chief in these regions. And that should tell you how important this road that you have is for them. And so I know you are passionate. I know you've been with me. I want you to basically say something about your commitment to these areas.
Thank you very much. Yes, there are a number of times that the president during the campaign would ask me about some details of some roads especially when he was campaigning in the Western region. And yes, I would give him my opinion on those things. Indeed, anybody who has ever traveled across our country will notice that parts of the regions you mentioned require urgent attention in terms of roads because of the resources that get stuck there because we can't evacuate, whether it's food, timber, and other things. It's just not acceptable. So yes, I'm committing, and the president has already committed to those areas about his intention to improve those road networks. I have no other commitment than to carry through what the president has already committed to the people. And together with you and all my colleagues from those two regions and beyond, both NPP and NDC, we shall work together to address all those issues about the road network in those regions. So yes, we are committed to those things. So I want to commend the chiefs and other things. I will be visiting them myself in our community to hear the things we need to do together on our roads. Thank you.
Thank you, Kwame. There was a period in Parliament where we were doing road kilometers politics. I remember during President Akufo-Addo's State of the Nation address, the president stated that they had constructed 974 kilometers of new roads. From where you sit, is these numbers correct? Do we even have to be doing this politics on roads when, quite frankly, some of these numbers don't add up? What is your view about this number that was thrown out there?
Thank you, Chairman. I think the issue in question has since been addressed by the road agencies providing, we demanded details. Though initially they issued a press statement against me, condemning me, they later came out to give a breakdown. And as I said earlier, the actual new roads constructed is just 675 kilometers thereabout. The bulk of it used to be 11,000. The bulk of the 13,000 kilometers now is reshaping, regraveling, and other interventions. But it's something we should all take on board. I don't believe the president probably did that intentionally. It was a brief he got from a ministry. And because the president couldn't have written, it's a bit too technical. Whoever wrote that speech probably should have paid a bit more attention in terms of giving the breakdowns. So I want to believe that going forward, we should all just stick to the standard way the road ministry reports on road sector interventions. If it's resealing, reshaping, just state it. There's no reason for anybody to say we have done 10,000 this. If you want to do that, then go under the same structure in the MTEF, which will tell you urban road, feeder road, and other things. And if you look at that, indeed, the NDC's record in 2016 reported in the 2017 budget is still unmatched in terms of those maintenance works. The record show is there to show.
Thank you. When you talked about the 100 billion indebtedness in the road sector, just oppose that to the 17 billion, I was alarmed. But what I was thinking about was that for so many Ghanaians who have voted massively for the NDC, that's not a number they are going to look at. They expect their roads to be done. And they have huge expectations. What strategies do we, as road minister, we adopt to try to address some of these and meet and manage these expectations?
I know it is a big challenge, but I am ready for the challenge. I see it as an opportunity to do something new as well. Maybe I need to understand why we were doing things the way we have been doing it. It will not be easy. It's about money. But together with the House, and I've already stated earlier, it is time for us as a country to have an honest discussion about how we fund roads in this country. the window of borrowing from another person's country is almost shut, but we still need the roads. We must pay for it in one way or the other. But it must be done in a consultative way, so it's not an imposition on anybody. And I signal that my very good friend, Honorable Makwata, started the process. At the time, myself and the former minority leader, Honorable Haruna, had discussions with him. And then when Honorable, the new Minister Asenso took over from him, I know they even had one of the meetings already on how to do funding for road. I intend to build upon it to make it public for the discussion to conclude on how we shall fund road projects sustainably using our own money. Because even if you want to do PPP and others, the developer want to see how he will be repaid. I don't know how many people are in this world who are ready to give you 500 million, 1 billion to do a PPP road when they can't see how they are going to recover their money. The only way to do it is to have that discussion. Thank you.
Something you just said, and I want you to clarify. You were unhappy that it took too long for the Swami project to receive attention after Parliament approved it. Is that what you were saying? Because when you said that, I wanted you to clarify.
Well, I believe one of the ways you can serve your country is what Honorable Chairman Sabe Bonsu did. His name cannot be wished off this Parliament. He's been part of this democracy for this long. And I thought what we see in Kumasi, especially at Swami, was something we need to deal with. And if you check, it received a consensus on the floor as to why we should do that project.
Honorable, you have the floor.
My respected colleague, first let me congratulate you on your nomination. You worked very hard, and I respect you for your stance on matters when you have to express your view. I believe that being a majority leader, I got a close shot of what you stand for. And I have no doubt on my mind at all that should all things go well, the nation would benefit from your talent. Honorable Amwakwata has described you as an upright and forthcoming person, the former Roads and Highways Minister. That's how he describes you. Your colleagues in the then Minority Caucus describe you as intelligent, frank, but temperamental. In view of the fact that this enterprise of ours is perception-driven, what will be your reaction going into the roads ministry in respect of this aspect of the perception held by your colleagues? Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman, and I want to thank colleagues for the feedback. I think it's important. They raised issue about my temperament, and yes, you are right. I am, when I believe in something, sometimes yourself you tell me, just be careful the way you put it. So for that part, I will work on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable, I shall go into your CV with you. So if you have it with you, please. Page 1 of your CV. Used. Yeah, I'll be using it. Page 1 of your CV. You state your name as Kwame Govins Agboja, whereas the communication from His Excellency refers to you as Govins Kwame Agboja. What is the right way?
I prefer to be called Kwame Agboja.
Yes, Chairman, I just want the correct full name.
It's in my passport and on my Ghana card is Kwame. My middle name is Govins. My Christian name or first name is Kwame Agboja. I know people don't understand it, but I prefer my name to be Kwame. So my middle name is Govins.
Very well. So, Kwame, in all difficulties and dangers, in whom would you put your trust?
In Jehovah.
Well, that assured I shall. Ewe, tree, English. I speak my broken Anlo with you, and then we speak English 99% of the time. My Anlo is not good at all, as you may know, because of my Efutu, dilution. So I don't speak tree with you. Is it the case that you speak the tree and write the tree? As well?
I cannot write tree, but I'm sure you've heard me even on radio speaking some tree. That is why I say I speak some tree.
Very well. So, Kwame, hometown, you have Adaklu, Kodiabe. Correct me if the pronunciation is.
Yes. Adaklu, Kodiabe.
So, what you mean is that Daddy and Mommy come from Adaklu, Kodiabe?
No. My at Old Biker in the Oti region.
Very well. Now, go through your CV again. You know, the same page 1. You have your experimental JSS, who 1985 to 88. Then you have Mauli School, Ho, where you had your GCE O levels, 1988 to 91. Does that mean that because you finished the JSS, you started from Form 2?
Yes, I went to the experimental JHS, well, JSS those days it was called. So when you finish your 3 years there, you go straight to secondary school, Form 3. Then you just do 2 years, then you do the O level. That is why it's like that.
Very well. So I just needed you to clarify. Please, let's go to page 2 of your CV. So you've indicated the 2014 to date, K and Partners Limited. Position held, principal consultant. I need 2 clarifications from you. 1, were you a registered director of this company or you were just an employee?
I'm the founder of the company.
Very well. Then, when you come to Architects Co-Partners Limited, you also have the consultant into bracket partner. Again, clarify. Are you a partner by directorship and ownership, or you are just a partner?
I operated K & Partners in the United Kingdom until I returned to Ghana in 2010. It was still in operation when I got to Ghana. I got involved in Architect Co-Partners, who belongs to a relative. And I took it over as the principal consultant. And then since then, I'm still a director and a partner of Architect Co-Partners as well.
Yes, so just the clarification again. Because you said 2010 to date, you know, if you check on it, 2010 to date. So I just wanted you to clarify whether whilst you were in Ghana serving as a member of parliament, you were still in the employ of that company and whether the company at all was operational, you know.
Architect Co-Partners is not very active today. K & Partners is slightly more active than Architect Co-Partners. But you will see 2010 till today simply because I got involved with Architect Co-Partners since 2010 and closed down K & Partners in the UK and restarted it in Ghana from 2014.
Very well. So you may want to do some amendment in future to that, the Architect and Co-Partners.
Thank you very much.
All right. Honorable, so again, normally we take dispensation from the speaker to practice our profession, those of us who are still in active projects. Did it ever happen that the need arose for you to take some permission from speaker to enable you practice, or really you were not too active?
Yes, in fact, I was a member of one of my favorite committees is a committee of members holding office of profit. So I made sure I took permission. We just started the 9th Parliament, and I will be doing that as soon as Parliament is properly constituted.
Well, suffice to state that you may not have the time to practice your profession. The heavy load of the Roads Minister may not permit you, but anyway, that's okay. Apart from these companies that you founded, are there other companies that you founded that you've not stated on your CV, please?
Yes, I have a parent company that I use to run other interests.
What's the name of that company?
I want to reserve since I didn't state it officially on my CV, I want to reserve the
No,
right.
it doesn't matter. I'm on notice of it, or it has come to my. I was going to put that to you. Okay. I haven't laid the foundation, so I don't mind if it pleases you to.
I run Southwell Technical Services and others as well. Yeah.
Because I know that for a fact. So since I didn't find it, I thought perhaps it was an omission. So I was laying the foundation, then put it to you. But since you've disclosed it, there's no problem at all. So this is a Ghanaian registered entity, correct?
It's a Ghanaian registered entity.
Are you the sole shareholder?
I'm the sole shareholder in that one.
And how many of you are directors of this entity?
Two.
You and who, please? You and who, please?
You want me to mention the names of the people?
No, you said two. Two
yeah,
of you are directors. But you are the sole shareholder.
Yes. The other person is just a director, secretary.
I understand.
Okay.
No, the new Registrar General, the new regulation, the law we passed, we can't have secretary director. You must have a secretary and director. They must be separate. Previously, you can have secretary director. So I just want to know from you. You have a secretary to this company, separate or different from a director, or you have a director secretary?
As a matter of fact, I don't play active role in these entities. I have a management firm that deals with these things. So to not put out an information that is not completely accurate, I want to reserve that one until I check.
That's fair enough. So Kwame, let's go into your days as a minority chief whip. You remember your midnight calls and early morning calls where you will state the principled position to me that although we've had an agreement, the party position is that you shouldn't. And you don't hide that from me, which I respect you for. One of the things you never did was to surprise me. So at least I knew what stance you had. Now, tell me, why is it that a lot of the times when you were opposing me, you look elsewhere? You wouldn't look in the correct direction. Why? What really was going through your mind? Why would you look down or look elsewhere in the process of firing at me, your tribesman?
Chairman, I must say the minority leader is a very good friend of mine. And I don't like disappointment. So if we go to a committee and take a decision on something, and it turns out not enough consultation has been done with my party, and by the time we finish the consultation, I need to change my stance, I feel I've let the committee down at that stage. So it is not comfortable to disappoint when I knew you were riding on my word. So, my very good friend, you know, it is not easy to stand in front of somebody who you believe trusts you to say that what I told you yesterday, I can't do it. So that is why it's difficult sometimes to look at you directly and say.
So, Kwame, I'm sure you have simplified matters. For those who perhaps found you to be very difficult to understand that this is the nature of politics. And some of our actions must not be held against that. I mean, that's it. I want to know from you about this road toll. When should Ghanaians expect it?
The issue about the road toll got the attention of the whole country. I'm of the view we shouldn't just, as a ministry, hurriedly put together something and spring a surprise on the public. I believe there has to be some engagement to consolidate our position. So what I can say is that quickly, the consultation can start. Exactly when would the rollout be? That would be part of the first budget of President Mahama to be presented to Parliament by the Finance Minister, your own good friend, Cassiel, Dr. Cassiel Ato-Forson.
So, you mean the policy will be introduced in the first budget?
There will be a rendition in the budget which would set the tone for what we are going to do. I sincerely believe we need to amend the road toll policy because there's a law on it. We need to, because what the law says still talks about toll booths and other things. And as I said, we are not going to build physical toll booths where drivers will stop and pay anything. So it requires us to actually amend the law. But the policy would appear in the financial policy of government when the first budget comes. Thereafter, the law, if whatever we need to do, would be brought to the House.
So you would agree with me that some costing would have to be done before the policy gets expression in the budget. You agree with me?
Certainly. We have done some simulations already. I am aware that we have done some surveys, both at the ministry and some other people have done that already in terms of the collection of data. But we are yet to engage the public with the findings and then chart a way forward. Yes, by the time we are coming to Parliament, for the policy, we should have an idea. First of all, how much we intend to charge and how much accruals we expect and what that money is supposed to do. Particularly, Ghanaians must get to know what that money is supposed to do.
But do you think Ghanaians must equally know the cost of rendering the services vis-a-vis the platforms you are going to rely on, since it's a whole technology drive?
Of course, it's an inbuilt. The cost of deploying the technology will have to be part of the rollout, because you need technology, you need a platform, you have to pay for it. So the cost will have to be part of it.
Should Ghanaians understand you to mean that you would introduce a public tender for the purposes of these IT services with the sole purpose at rolling out this new tolling system?
At this stage, I can only say that it will have to be competitive, because not all public tenders give you the lowest evaluated figure. So I will leave it at this for now.
Mr. Govins Agboja.
Actually, Kwame Agboja.
Would it please you if I go our informal way? You refer to me as Kwame now. I refer to you as Kwame. Would you be comfortable with that so that I take permission from chair?
If you do not worry anybody here, we can do that.
Very well. So, Kwame, don't you think that the goodwill of your government, which you ride on, will mean that in this important policy, you roll it out through a public tender, and even so, segregate it instead of centralizing it, so that you can have more Ghanaians who have such technology to participate. So, for instance, in the southern sector, where you would have the Tema, the Wager area, you can have one tender lot, and then in the middle belt, the Kumasi area, you have another lot. In the western region, you can have another lot, and northern region. Don't you think that some indicative assurances would help the ordinary Ghanaian entrepreneur in the IT field feel good about this?
Well, I'm most excited about your concluding part, which is to make this a Ghanaian-owned thing, which will give opportunity to Ghanaians. And I take on board your valuable suggestion that in the process of selecting the would-be operators, we should make it more open. I think it's a valuable idea. When we are doing the consultation, we would consider these things before we come up with a conclusion.
Chairman, some stakeholders have called for the suspension of Act 118. You know, it was a bill, a law we enacted to impliedly repeal the Act 540. That is so, the Ghana Highway Authority law. What is your own view about this?
The records in Parliament will show that I participated well in the formulation of that law. I am also aware that the implementation is currently receiving challenges. What I said earlier was to say that when I get to the ministry with the kind support of this committee and plenary, I would listen to the stakeholders, i.e. mainly the agencies under the ministry, highways, feeder roads, and urban roads, to understand exactly what their challenges are. And then thereafter, come up with the best possible way of taking it forward, or if we need to tweak sections of the Act to address their issues, because I believe we need to listen to them and to address the issue. Then we can do that.
Kwame, I moved to this point about quality of our roads. I hold a view that as a political class, we often get too hard on ourselves without paying attention to the technical components that lead to quality of our roads. No doubt, as a politician, you've had cause to lambast the previous government and to talk about the quality of roads. It's your bona fide. I don't take it away from you. I would have cause to criticize your government quality of roads. I live at Abelingbe, the underbridge that connects to Abofu. I saw this road being asphalted all the way to the Achimota market, that link. In 2018, heavy potholes, the road had gone bad, and it had to be asphalted again. You and I know that you being a sector minister, you will not physically do so petrol. My dear colleague Kwame, the debts